Hey. There's music here, I promise.
Music.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 387 for October 21st, 2020. My name is Russell Frost, and I'm your host for this evening's journey into advanced tech transportation and sustainable energy. With me this week, I have an amazing panel. Let me introduce each and every one of these important people to you so that you can get to know them a little better, and then we'll begin this week's show. My co-host, who has paid me an enormous amount of money to introduce him as Jeffrey Tubin.
Oh my God. Okay, everybody.
Sound
You
effects.
have to understand, pre-show was absolutely raucous. And then
It was.
Russell comes in with this library AM classic FM intro, and it was just total night and day, and that was awesome.
That was definitely the,
Well,
the FM intro. The AM intro would have sounded like this.
Woo! That was
At
well
any
played,
moment,
sir.
I kind of expected for him to go, "This is Russell Frost with the Quiet Storm, your romantic evening music serenade." And the Barry White.
You can't afford Barry White.
I could tell stories, but that's not what this show is about. So, Tony.
Wow. Hi, everyone. Yes, it's we got a really, really big show, and I'm drinking an Oktoberfest because it's October, and that's what
You're feeling
do.
festive.
And I'm feeling festive, apparently.
Well, speaking of festive, our friend in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello. How is everybody doing out there? It's going to be a fun show. Buckle up.
Buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be rough. And speaking of buckle up, our other co-host, my other co-host for this lovely show, Georgia McKenzie.
Oh, it's me. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? And tonight's drink is Trader Joe's seltzer water in green apple. So, there you go.
All right.
Hey, that is absolutely
I'm on the
legit.
hard stuff, damn it.
Our friend up north of the border, the host of the Tesla Life, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. And of course, up north, things are spelt in French and in English.
Oh,
Diete.
good old
Good
Diet
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Mind blown.
Well, he's our friend in the Mid-Atlantic region who is famous for his supercharger reviews, Mr. Casey Green.
What's up, everybody? I just put out one with the most amazing view you've ever seen. You should check it out.
Absolutely. Go to Casey's YouTube channel and check it out. And he is not only my personal car salesperson and technician, he's the world's car salesperson and technician, founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey everybody, and if I keel over, send the paramedics. I'm drinking peanut butter cup milk stout. I've yet to sip it, so.
Oh, you got to do it live, Paul. Take
Oh.
a sip
I know,
and tell
come
us.
on. Chug,
Yeah,
chug,
You're
chug,
probably going to
chug.
like it.
No.
Hand it over
I
here,
didn't buy it in the
Paul.
first place. Someone gave it to us.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah,
I-
you know,
That did not
No.
go down smoothly. I'm
not for
sorry.
me. I mean, some of you might like it, but it's not for me.
No.
I've
But
had
since it's here, I've opened it. I have to drink it now, I guess. So.
I've had Belching Beaver peanut butter stout, and that one I liked. And there's another one called Nut Crusher, which was also a good peanut butter. Oh, look at that! Look at that! There's a beaver. I don't know if it's
Look at
Belching, but
Thanks. I love it when men admire my beaver.
All right,
Wow.
we are off the rails already.
I mean,
That's where the show's
and there
going.
it goes.
went from Nut
Yep.
Crusher to Adoring Beaver. I don't know.
Uh,
Show titles. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and there's a brewery not far from here called Belching Beaver Brewery. That's
Oh yeah, they make that one. Yeah.
certainly
it's in
very
San Diego?
famous. Let's see who has the first story tonight. I think it leads off with Casey Green is going to talk about some kind of electric thing, something maybe from General Motors. I don't know.
Yes. So our friends at General Motors have been teasing us for months about the resurgence of the Hummer brand. And, well, the first couple entrances were lackluster. They were trying to tease. There was just a little too much teasing. Basically, we got lights. Then we got a logo. Then we got a wheel. Yesterday, they spent 7 minutes doing their product overview, and then they turned it over to the YouTubers, which was an interesting but better experience than what they gave us last time. So what they showed us was the new Hummer electric truck. It's a 2022 model year. It's completely sold out for the first edition, and it's got some awesome specs, like 1,000 horsepower, removable skylight moonroofs. They come out in 4 sections. It's got what they call the crab walk, where all 4 wheels can turn together, kind of like they had in the mid-90s, but digital now. Yeah. And so it can turn tighter. It's more agile, more nimble. Tony's got some charts here, so I can tell you all about it. You can look along. Yeah.
Did they say how many reservations they were allowing for the first edition?
They did not. They just said they sold them out.
Yeah. GM was very coy about saying that they'd sold out of the EV1 edition, but they didn't say if that was.
I think it's 7 or 8.
Or
It's gotta be more than
1,000 or 1,000,000.
It's got to be at least 1,000 if they, this is GM we're talking about. And so I learned this morning that what I saw was actually a digital creation. There was not an actual prototype. It wasn't quite a
It was Photoshop?
No, it wasn't Photoshop. It wasn't as bad as the Gravity Assist tractor trailer that we saw a couple weeks ago. But it was definitely had an asterisk on it, artist interpretation.
Wait. You mean to tell me that when the demonstration video, when it shows the vehicle breaking the sound barrier, you mean that wasn't real? Because I really thought that was real.
I thought
Not that part, but I thought that the driving on a beach and crawling up rocks, that might have been the prototype. Like our friends at Rivian have shown us prototypes doing that. So I figured, GM, they know how to build off-road vehicles. They've done it before. Why would I think this is a digital creation? Mm-hmm. I was wrong. Yeah.
So can you describe crab walk?
Crab walk is where all 4 wheels will turn the same way, and the car will move at about a 45-degree angle. I'm not quite sure the utility of it.
Call that 4-wheel steering.
Yeah, GM had it in the early to mid-90s, and this seems to be a digital version of that hydraulic system that they used to have.
This is a little different. Like with 4-wheel steering, when you have something really big, you use that and you turn the front and the rear in different directions, so that
it does that too.
Comes around.
Mm-hmm.
The crab walk that I saw was for rock crawling, and if you needed to move just to your left, you could do that at a 45-degree angle without. So the whole thing moves sideways, so you could get around like a rock or a tree stump or something.
Mm-hmm.
It has limited use, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah. But couldn't the Silverado and the Denali of the early 90s do that as well? Just hydraulic instead of electronic?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I thought they did for like parallel parking.
So if they had it in the early 90s and they stopped it, there must have been like...
Well, it was hydraulic and it was moving parts and computers were expensive back then.
It didn't work very well. I think
that's probably the real reason.
It worked very well. It worked well for a little while and then it broke.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was expensive, a lot of warranty.
Yeah, it's probably a big warranty, not a warranty necessarily, but definitely that. But probably it was also like, it's a $10,000 option. Every farmer's got this.
Right. So one of the features that Casey mentioned was the roof. So I have a picture here. I found a really good picture. So yeah, what you don't see here, and what you kind of can see, is there was a bar coming through the front, just like the one in the back you can see is permanent, unremovable.
Yep.
There was a bar here in the front, and that led to 4 glass pieces. I mean, even when the glass pieces are there, the view through the roof is phenomenal.
It is. Yeah, once you remove the T-tops, you can remove that bar.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know the bar was removable too.
Oh, yeah.
Just the front one.
Off,
just the front one, not the back.
Yeah, the back one's permanent. And then it's got a very definite lunar theme to it. Like your driver's left footrest is Neil Armstrong's boot from the moon.
Yeah, it's the boot print.
The
I actually thought that
original
was
moon
really
boat is
cool.
out there somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what the connection is to the moon specifically with the Hummer, but it doesn't matter. It's coming out, just after the 50th anniversary of that, and they wanted to some kind of high-tech feel, and yet also something that appeals to people my age, 50 plus, and who have money to afford this kind of thing. And I think they nailed it with that.
Oh yes, and it had some features I thought were kind of nifty. Like all three of the back seats are actually, the seat backs are compartments that you can store stuff in, like your toe straps or your flares or whatever. And the bed is a composite bed, and they did have an actual prototype. I just figured that the prototype was doing the driving. The prototype was sitting there being touched by the YouTubers. It has this nice, for off-roading, it has this nice suspension feature where it can just pick up 16 extra inches. Just, there you go. The first editions come with, I think, a 35-inch tire, and you can option it up to a 37 if I've got the numbers right.
That is huge. Just
It is
stop
huge.
just for a moment. I thought like 22-inch tires were big, and now you're saying, what?
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the base is like 28.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eat lug nuts.
Well, I
Right.
feel faintly bad because I've been watching the video for the Hummer and looking over the images, and I hate to tell you what it reminds me of, but Russell, do you mind if I share something?
He's begging for it.
Please.
Oh,
Like that, I'm
wow,
sorry.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks like a big, overhyped, testosterone-soaked version of this. Like if you dipped it in steroids, this little Dutton surf thing, you'd get today's electronic Hummer.
And that is four-wheel drive, so
It does have a moonroof, a sunroof,
And you
and
can duck walk
removable.
with it, or a duck can walk off with it. I don't know, whatever.
right.
Perhaps.
So the one that we saw is called the Hummer EV1 edition, or sorry, the EV Edition 1. Sorry,
Okay, stop.
They did that on
Yeah,
purpose.
I was gonna say, don't.
Yeah, we have to talk about that. This is
Right?
General Motors, the company that made the EV1, and now to put this in their name, that cannot be just a
No.
coincidence.
You saw me make the mistake. They did this shit on purpose.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's why I had to stop it right there.
Right.
I want to hear what Chelsea has to say.
Somewhere Chelsea Sexton is going, oh God, the pain.
Yes, I'm sorry, Chelsea.
Right.
Yes,
It was
the
an honest
EV1,
mistake. I did not do that on purpose. So it'll be
that
available in the
little
fall.
sporty thing, and now it's in very much the opposite of this style-wise, as a similar. Oh man.
Yeah, it'll be available in the fall of 2021. It'll be a tri-motor design, so you'll have two rear motors. They'll be back to back, so they'll have the half shafts going straight out like that, like some other electric pickups that we've seen, except for the one that had the in-wheel motors, which I don't know how well that will last. We'll see. And it's got 1,000 horsepower, as I said, 11,500 foot-pounds of torque, and 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds.
Yeah,
and-
for something that big to have a 0 to 60, I mean,
Yes.
most trucks have 7 or 8 or a second 0 to 60 at best. So this is high performance.
And
It
those are
is.
not low resistance rolling tires.
No, they're off-road
They're
rock
high
crawlers.
resistance.
They're very
they're-
expensive tires. They're going to get replaced frequently.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're,
When
they're
you're
claiming.
spending $100K on a car.
So is this?
I didn't get to the
truck
price yet.
measured
You're going to buzz my.
how many miles per kilowatt hour? Is it how many kilowatt hours per mile?
Yes,
Yes, it's a Hummer.
it is. Right.
So they're claiming 350 plus miles of range, and it includes such EV features as Watts to Freedom, Extreme Off-Road Package. With this Extreme Off-Road Package, you can look under your truck, and you can see kind of like the Raptor has, where you can look down off of the nose, but you're not looking down off the nose. You're looking straight under the truck from the front and the back. It's got a surround view system where you can dial in your camera from the command center.
I thought that was a cool feature. If you
I thought it was
want
really
to
cool.
go rock crawling, you need to be able to see the ground under to see if you're gonna, bottom out. And this having those views right there in the cab, that's great. That's better than kicking your passenger out and making them go, I don't know. Wait, a little more to the left.
Or worse, if you're alone and go off the beaten path on, like, say, there's a tree in the road and you go too far or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Casey, you were talking specs, and I just threw up the.
Perfect. So you guys can see what I see. The 350 kilowatt charging, that's neat. It's cool. They were really bragging to the YouTubers about their wireless battery. Inside of their battery modules are pouch cells, so I'm not sure that they're really wireless. I think that the modules just happen to be like conductive bus bars. So that seemed like some marketing puffery to me.
The wireless
right.
part is just like the battery telemetry stuff. It's not.
Oh, just the telemetry.
Induction
Okay.
charging or anything like that. No.
Well, no, I didn't think it was induction or anything. I thought that they were bragging about how they don't have any wires going between the modules, but inside of the modules would be wires.
Yeah, it's not Nikola Tesla wireless electricity.
That would be sharp. If only they hadn't run him off as a warlock, we could have been so much further along than we are today.
Yeah. So I mean, anything like that reduces some of the wiring for that you don't need, because now we have modern, reliable wireless. That's a great idea.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody's got modules that connect via bus bars. It is nifty that they're connecting wirelessly to read them, but is that even necessary?
I'm going to agree with Patrick, but I'm also gonna hope that the wireless technology works better than my Bluetooth, because my Bluetooth speaker is a pain in the ass.
Right. Yes. You don't want to be going in and getting new transmitters and receivers all the time just because I don't know how much juice is in my battery. You won't tell me.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, that's inconvenient, isn't it?
Right. So these modules are cooled from the bottom plate, kind of like the Bolt EV, but as modules instead of pouches, and they're double stacked, kind of like the Tesla Roadster concept where they're double stacked, and apparently it only comes in white.
Right.
I didn't see that before either. And so they've got 3 other trims. They've got another one with tri-motors, less range, less horsepower, a dual motor option, which, again, less range, less price, blah, blah. And then their base model is not rear-wheel drive only like everybody else's that doesn't have in-wheel motors. Their base model is a dual motor. Now, as Patrick alluded to, and you probably saw on the screen, the addition is $112,000, $595. So yeah,
which is irrelevant because you can't buy them. They're
you can't buy one. If it mattered, you've already got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you would be looking at for 2022, so 2 years from now, you're looking at, because it's the fall of 2022, you're looking at the Hummer EV 3X. They're doing this on purpose.
Okay, so you said 3X, but when I look at it, the 3 is a superscript. So is that supposed to be
CubeX?
EV cubed?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Cube 3 times?
Right. Yeah. Come on, really?
It's the EV3. The EV1 one is the EV2. And this is the 3rd time they come back to the table.
And okay, yeah.
All
and
of a
then,
sudden, it's an Abbott and Costello sketch.
And why is the 3X available before the 2X?
Because the 3X has 3 motors and the 2X has 2 motors.
Oh.
But the 2 has 2 motors too, so why the X?
Because
all
there's
questions
the 2X.
So there's no longer extreme.
You pay $20,000, no, $10,000 more for the X.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I got it. So I'm putting this back up here. The 2X does have 300-mile range.
Yeah.
And the 2 only has 250. So
Extra
the X
range.
is the extra 50.
Oh, come on.
And I guess
I don't know.
So the X has
$10,000 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
It's
4-wheel
made
steering.
with chemical
And the
X.
four-wheel
That's why
steering.
the X at the end of it.
They all have GM Super Cruise available capability. And they were very braggadocious about how their Super Cruise can now change lanes on its own, like some other vehicles we've seen, not just from one manufacturer either. As well as
my car can change lanes on its own. All I have to do is let go of the wheel, and eventually it will change lanes.
change lanes properly, like some other manufacturers have shown us, as well as one third-party add-in board manufacturer.
The asterisk throws me off every time.
I just want Tony to put out an alert anytime he drives.
He'll be the one in the slow lane. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I a couple of questions for the panel about this.
Go
thing.
ahead.
Couple of questions.
Anybody think this is not going to come out next fall? Georgia says no. Everybody else is either agreeing or
I'm
not.
really on the
limited
fence.
I think
quantity.
late fall. It won't
Coin
be.
toss. Coin toss.
I think it will be after Thanksgiving next year.
Oh, they promised that. I bet you it'd be like after Christmas, kind of like the Model X delivery, just at the last minute.
Yeah, I was just going to say
Oh,
that
so
was
we're going
6
to
feet.
see a lot of commercials
New
with the
Year's
Hummer
Eve
with
at
the giant red
11:30.
bow on it for
Yeah.
Christmas.
I
That's what
mean,
we're gonna see all those.
GM does know how to build an electric vehicle. They know
Yeah.
how to build a truck. They've
Mhm.
got a gazillion engineers and factories, so they might be able to pull it off more
but here's
than
the-
a Rivian or a startup, I would think.
But here's the thing, though. When I discovered that what we saw was not the real vehicle, they haven't even designed the truck yet. This is the concept of the concept. They have one hand-built thing, and they haven't even got
That sounds
tools to
familiar.
prototyping.
Oh
Right?
my
I'm
God.
gonna also,
All right.
I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
an additional reason why I don't believe it's gonna be on the market when they say, and it
Okay.
has nothing to do with their experience in building cars. I'm thinking that they're looking at the markets right now. They're looking at our economy, and they're saying to themselves, "Will we have enough people who are willing to take on $112,000 car debt based on what's going on now, what we can project into the time frame when we want to release this vehicle?" So they may be willing to put a date out there now with the release of this prototype and get the hype rolling, but I'm thinking they're going to go, do we want to ramp up production on this and take all that expense to have something that we release when we're still going to be in a not so great market for an expensive boner extension like this machine?
You bring up a good point, though, with the
truck.
with the sold out. Is that sold out to customers? Have they hand raised with $1,000? Have they just said, I want to buy it? Or is it the dealership? Because they have to buy whatever is shoved down their throats.
Oh,
But the
that's
vehicle might not be sold through.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay.
I don't think if you're buying a vehicle this expensive, the economy ebbs and flows, and it's just a decimal point in your net worth. So I don't think that they're worried about that. But I do agree that they're just going to release a few probably next year, and it'll be the year after when they have any significant sort of volume. And a vehicle like this is pretty niche anyway, so I don't know what kind of volume they're expecting.
Do we have a gross weight of this?
It should be enough that you can get your Hummer deduction.
I don't
Right,
think
that was where
have the,
that was
Yeah.
exactly where I was going. It's exactly where I was going because
They didn't say how big the battery pack was. They didn't say.
Yeah, they said
what,
They say it's north of 200.
Yeah,
right.
over 200
and is that
kilowatt
true
hours.
for all of them? I mean, because
Of
this one
course
has
not.
300 miles and this one only has 250. So which one is north of 200 kilowatt hours?
But the one with 250 also has road tires and not off-road chunkers.
Which should mean more efficiency, more miles per watt hour, and
Right.
yet it has less range. So
Because it has a smaller battery, because
It
it's
must
cheaper.
have a smaller battery. But
Yeah.
but that seems like a pretty vital statistic of
But they don't know yet. It's not designed.
I don't want to
Not
pick
real
apart.
enough.
Right.
There was a ton of information that GM did not
Yes.
provide, as is not unusual in these concept launches in this sort of like, I mean, it's a hype event, right? We're talking
It
about
is.
the concept vehicle isn't going to come out for another year. A production vehicle, as Patrick very correctly mentioned, we won't see for probably 2 years. So a lot of this is still very much up in the air.
You know, they should have started small and come out with like an EV Aztec.
Oh my God.
That would sell well. They
Yeah.
did
You
do
know
one
what,
thing right
actually-
here, though. I mean, this will go great for folks who have an allergy to California and have never heard of Rivian, Bollinger, or they don't know if they want a work truck from dropping their name already.
Lordstown.
Lordstown, yes. Or they don't, like me, don't believe that the in-wheel motors might have the longevity from such a small company.
Yeah, Paul, I'm going to disagree with you. I think starting at the with a vehicle that can have a big price tag as a way for them to develop their technology and then take it down market is a way for them to make a profit and come out with something cool with neat specs. If they're trying to go to an Aztec right away, it's going to be a $50,000 car that performs like a $20,000 car, and that just isn't a big market.
Right.
Yeah, if they had started with the
I think
the
Paul was
ELR
joking.
instead of the Volt.
Yes, you're right. Paul was joking, and I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
Well, about the Aztec part. Yeah, if they started further down market.
Because the Aztec was fine. I get it. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Right. Right.
So if they had started with the ELR instead of the Volt, I think that product line might have survived a little longer.
They did do one thing right. You know, we talked a lot of stuff was what was, you know, everything that's, you know, changed from the Hummer. You know, this isn't the old Hummer. This is the electric version, and it's new and it's fresh. One thing they did keep, you know, with the current, I think this is important to point out, is just like the previous Hummers, this is extremely inefficient.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
you know, you got to honor
the
tradition.
200 kilowatt hour pack expected to get 350 mile range. If you compare that to Rivian, who's saying 180 kilowatt hour pack, which is smaller, expected to get 400 miles, then yeah, they did a really great thing here with the Hummer by giving you a bigger pack and less range.
Yep.
But
Way to go.
One thing we do know is there's a significant market in America for big, stupid pickup trucks that cost a lot of money, and they make a big profit on them. Like the new Ford Bronco, I don't even think it's shipping yet, but people are lining up to give him 70 grand for a Bronco. That's a gas car. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you like big honking road monstrosities and you want to spend a little less money and get 500 miles range for your 200 kilowatt hour battery pack, you get the stainless steel California.
Right.
Oh yeah.
For up to $79,000, starting at $35,000. Either way, this price is going to change before it actually comes out.
Yeah, and none of these are real yet, so it doesn't.
Not a single one.
Mm-hmm.
But
the
yeah,
cool thing is there's
just
going
like,
to be a lot of choices, and
Yes,
so
that's the good
depending on
part.
what style you like, if efficiency matters or not, what brand you have loyalty to, lots and lots of options coming soon.
Absolutely.
right. And just like the previous Hummer, I mean, it's big, it's expensive, and it's stupid. I'm just going to say it.
How many are you going to buy, Tony?
Oh, at least 4.
But at least at the same time, though, you're looking at, if you live in California, you live in New York, your state is considering it as well, aren't they, Tony? The gas bans?
Oh,
no.
I was thinking about CARB,
No.
but yeah, there are some states that are at some future date supposedly banning gas sales. That's awesome.
Not that I've heard. Illinois, not that I've heard.
Okay,
Yeah.
there was somebody in the Midwest, and so this way you can get ready and still have your big honking pickup truck, and you get a choice. You don't have to just pick the bug-eyed thing in the corner that has a 100-mile range.
Yeah,
and it
if
can
they
tow your
really want
trailer.
to have, if they want to have those bans, you definitely have to have some great truck options. So I'm glad those are coming.
I'm just waiting for the day that somebody rolls up next to me in one of these and yells, "In your face, libtard!"
And then tries to roll coal.
And then like a fake rolling coal generator to.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. That'll be the first accessory that the smart OEM's going to make is the rolling coal generator for the electric Hummer.
I think the
They'll just
diesel
vape
bros
into
will
the-
want-
into the fake smokestack.
Briquettes.
Throw briquettes.
I hope they have something on the Barbie.
It'll be like a little dash light. You forgot to put another 50-pound bag of briquettes in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Enough of this.
one more feature.
Yes,
on those
sir.
cameras on the bottom, because they're on the bottom, they're likely to get covered in mud and dirt and all that stuff. And GM thought of that, and they have it squirts
Water
water
jets?
from your windshield wiper
Like headlights on.
reservoir. Yeah, and that is a great idea. I live here in Oregon, and it rains a lot, and my backup camera often gets covered, and then I can't see to back up. And sure, I can go out and wipe it off, but if I just had a little button that would squirt some water on that and clear it off, or whatever, a squirt of air or whatever, I would love to have a feature like that. So hopefully after GM releases this, some other vehicle manufacturers will do the same to their cameras. And
Nissan's got it today.
Oh,
That's going to be the next thing when I pull up to a stoplight. Some homeless man is going to get out and clean my rear view wiper and then ask me, or my rear view camera, and ask me for $1.
So the beauty of the
would
Nissan
totally
one is they've got the one that squirts on demand, but they've got another one that's a patent where it will put a stream of water constantly. It'll match the rain, so that way it's always clear, even though it's wet.
Nice.
Smart.
And they've got it on the Bolt EV and
Let's
the
move on,
Cadillac Super Cruise.
folks. We're not going to do the whole show for GM because they're not that nice. Not
It's true.
by half. Let's go to Mark Coughlin for his wrap up of This Week in Tesla.
This Week in Tesla is all about the earnings call. Q3 earnings call happened just an hour or so ago. And the news, of course, is this is Tesla's 5th quarter in a row of profitability. Again, never happened before. 4 never happened before. Now we're at 5. So they have just indicated that this is their best quarter ever for profitability, for earnings, for cash. And the hits keep rolling for Tesla. With the stress of the pandemic, there were some possibilities that this was not going to be a great quarter. But the sales and now the profitability is up and are at record numbers. So this is fantastic news for Tesla as they continue to roll, building 2 new factories as they do it. So I don't think we're going to see anything but good news for the next quarter as well. But that's a future statement. We will see. But in this earnings call, they indicated that Berlin and Austin would be online and producing cars both in 2021, so next year. They indicated that Tesla Energy took the stage for some time and talked about solar and storage. They've indicated that they've had a record quarter. 759 megawatt hours were produced in Q3, another record for Tesla Energy. And they have indicated that both solar and batteries combined have now crossed the amount of fossil fuel for dollar amounts. It's now cheaper to have solar and batteries together than pull equal amounts of energy from fossil fuels in most countries. So they were just talking about how the price has gone down for this and has now crossed the path of fossil fuels in a number of different cases. They talked about, of course, the first rollout of full self-driving, which happened last night. It was given to a group of what Tesla calls safe drivers.
So nobody we know.
Any safe drivers on this panel?
Nobody on this panel, that's for sure.
Nobody on this panel.
At least my car says I'm not.
We were hoping our own Casey Green would qualify, but apparently hitting that woman last week counted against him.
I think it's because I've got the data logger and they don't want that out there.
No.
Of course, I'm making a joke.
It was a man.
Are you kidding? It was a child.
Oh, God, it gets worse.
It just gets better. Yes. Also, they indicated that full self-driving by the end of this year would be in wide release. So that's most likely when Casey will get it as they start to roll it out further beyond this safe driving community that they have somehow come up with. Also, an indicator as to how the company has grown. Vehicle capacity over a year at both Fremont and Shanghai combined now, we're sitting at about 840,000 vehicles. So that number has grown dramatically and continues to grow as Shanghai develops new efficiencies and they get completely up to par as to what they can design. I'm sorry, they can manufacture vehicles coming off the line. So a lot of great news. Obviously we could spend a whole hour on it, and we pretty well did on the Tesla Life. But here we're just touching on things. So if you would like some more details, some more information, please visit us at the Tesla Life on Twitter, or you can get us on YouTube, the Tesla Life as well.
And if you care at all about Tesla, you have to follow Mark at the Tesla Life on Twitter.
That's the way it goes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
If not, you really don't care. And Elon sees that and notes it in his big magic notebook of good boys and girls and bad boys and girls.
And who gets updates and who
gets
has to
who
wait.
gets the coal?
Yeah. Who gets FSD and who doesn't?
So I think we've all seen the commercials for the most interesting man in the world. We are fortunate to have Mark, the most interesting man in Canada, on our show.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, but it was nice. It was
Yeah, it's
Very
really
pleasant.
complimentary, Mark. Let it run.
Speaking of
But I
Tony
did-
Bean, go ahead.
As I say, I do want to take this time, I'm sorry, to remind everyone that if you do want to read the news that we're reading, be sure to check us out online. First of all, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/whatdrivesus, where our very own Patrick Connor does a great job of keeping our news up to date and keeping new and relevant news articles in your Facebook feed. Make sure and subscribe to that page. Also, if you do use Flipboard as a news aggregator, be sure to subscribe to the What Drives Us magazine, where you'll also be able to read the news that we're reading. And
Thank you.
go ahead and give a thumbs up to this show if you haven't already. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the show, what are you waiting for? Subscribe.
You made it this
We
far.
only harvest a little bit of your data.
Couldn't
We
we
don't
just-
answer the questions, we give it to them. So whatever. Okay, you can't get mad at us for giving data away.
I was going to say, Mark Coughlin, he doesn't always do what drives us, but when he does This Week in Tesla. The most interesting man in Canada.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
I thought we were off the rails earlier.
Well, speaking of off the rails, let's go to Tony for a follow-up to the another General Motors story.
Yes. Ooh, and I have to apologize because this was in Bloomberg, and Bloomberg limits you to a certain number of articles per month, and I had exceeded that. So I had to open it in another browser in order to reset my limit. Anyway, I
There's your
know,
lawyer
first world
calling. It
problem.
says you didn't hear that.
Yeah. So anyway,
we'll cut that in post.
we have a post.
So I subscribed to Bloomberg, and now I can tell you.
Oh, right. Oh, that's what I meant. I'm so sorry. Cut. All right.
Ultium batteries?
Anyway, so GM, we were just talking about GM. They are planning on turning and converting an old Saturn factory into another EV factory. So this will be their third dedicated EV factory that they'll have.
Is it the same
And this one,
Saturn factory that built the EV1?
this was in Tennessee. I'm not sure where the
So maybe?
Might have been.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. So they're
Next thing we know, they call Chelsea up. Hey,
Yeah. What's your old job back?
So $2 billion in 6 U.S. plants overall, and part of that $2 billion investment is converting the former Saturn plants into the third factory to do pure EVs. So that adds to Spring Hill, Tennessee, where they did the Cadillac and the Lyric crossover utility, and the one that is up at Hamtramck. Who I don't
the
know.
old
Too many-
Volt factory.
Too many
So I just looked it up.
consonants.
The EV1 was
Yeah.
made in Lansing, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's low volume.
Same factory.
And Lake Orion, Michigan is where they put together the Chevy Bolt. So yes, they are manufacturing their Ultium batteries and expanding their factories. So, you know, we joke about the Hummer and stuff, but it is starting to look as though General Motors is coming around and bringing more factories online, introducing more models. So, I mean, who knows? GM might actually remake themselves as an electric vehicle manufacturer.
Yeah,
Well,
this is a
yeah.
good point.
Soon.
The
We're
real
looking at
measure
their-
of a. Go ahead, Georgia. You go ahead.
I was just going to say that the fact that they're saying that they want to have 20 electric vehicles by 2023, that's that looks to me like they're basically saying they're going to put out, and their entire lineup is going to be electric vehicles. So it's not an explicit statement of, hey, we're probably cutting back on the gas production and shifting mostly towards the EV market. But I think that sounds like a really solid commitment to converting GM into a new path. And I think it's highly commendable.
Yeah, I mean, Musk was saying on the call today that they are looking to very soon exceed the ability to be as affordable as gas. And LG got in trouble, or GM got in trouble for letting it be known how cheap LG batteries were when the Bolt came out. So they probably are really close to that same number. So
So
that's
there you
just
go.
another step forward to turn your whole fleet over if it's already cheaper than a gas car.
Yeah. So now it's one thing for General Motors to say that we're going to put out these cars, and this is probably the wrong thing to do, but let's play the stereotype game. Do you think that the typical General Motors purchaser will be in the market for an electrified vehicle, even if it comes from General Motors?
If they're GM customers, like brand exclusive, I only buy Cadillacs and Chevys. Yeah.
No, I mean, the average consumer hasn't ridden in an EV, doesn't understand how to charge them, how they work. There's going to be a lot of education to get people to change their minds. I mean, look how hard it is to sell a hybrid car to most consumers. And
Right, but I'm looking back to last week when Toyota was saying how with the RAV4 hybrid,
yeah,
they don't
20
have
years
to.
after hybrids came on the market. So
Right, but after they sit them in the two cars and say this one's cheaper and the gas is cheaper, they don't really have to do any more explaining or expect that their salespersons actually learn the material.
But there's so much has to change. I mean, they got to train the salespeople. They got to incentivize the salespeople to push the EVs. Because right now, if the payment pencils out cheaper for the gas car, the salesperson is going to sell the gas car because they're going to get a commission easier.
Yeah.
Right.
But if your largest market and then some other large markets go EV only, it becomes even easier to deal with that because you don't have a choice.
That's going to be a long time, in my opinion, before you have no choice. I realize that California has passed that mandate, but 2035 is a long ways away. It's not 2025, it's 2035.
Sure.
So unfortunately, I'm going to agree with Paul that it's way tougher to sell EVs to most people than I think us who live and breathe this fully appreciate. You've got dealers whose service departments revolve around gas vehicles, and the dealers aren't going to support that until there's some way that the manufacturer can show them that they're going to replace that revenue stream. They're not just going to go, oh, okay, we'll just close our service department and we'll just close 30 bays and we'll only have 5. You know, that ain't going to happen, kids. So
we spoke about today about a police department that grudgingly went EV because they couldn't afford to go gas. And I have a feeling that once you get the bean counters involved, if this is going the way that these executives are saying, that it will happen whether or not Joe Consumer wants to.
And that's great on the consumer, but I think to Russell's point, the dealership bean counters are going to be looking at negative revenue growth.
Yeah.
And companies like
revenue and dealers comes from the service department. And if these cars need a quarter of the service.
I know.
But also keep in mind that once electric vehicles are cheaper than gas vehicles, that gas vehicle that's being sold at a certain dealership is not going to be competitive no matter what. So they may not want to sell an electric vehicle because they don't make as much profit. It's not serviceable. But you know what? The dealership across the street for a different brand they're selling an EV that's already cheaper than your gas vehicle. So they're going to have trouble selling cars anyways as this moves along.
I get that point, Mark, and I think that that's legitimate to a point. But again, keep in mind that most consumers want stuff that they're familiar with. My daddy bought a gas car. I'm going to buy a gas car. And if it costs me an extra couple of grand.
But there's no charging station on the corner, and I live in an apartment. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to exist, but I think Patrick coined the phrase that once you get green for going green, it's tough to go back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's gonna happen a lot faster than you expect, and it's going to be exponential because once Joe Schmo's mom has done it or his neighbor has done it, he's going to look like a dummy, and he doesn't want to look like a dummy.
Yeah. So one thing, let's get back to GM for a minute here. It's easy to make statements like, "Oh, we're going to have 20 electrified vehicles by some future date," and talk is cheap. But
And
spending this money,
different or
the
the
factory,
brand siblings?
right? Yeah. So yeah, not only is talk cheap, there could also be weasel words that make it mean even less than what it sounded like. But forget all of that. Spending millions or billions of dollars to convert factories over, that's a commitment. That's what that's not just talk, that's not just promises, that's actual action, that's putting their money to work, and that's what's going to allow them to actually deliver on those promises. So this is the kind of stuff that I like to see.
State tax perks to do
it. Yeah, I'm not sure if they are getting perks or not. I'm sure that anything that brings jobs to some local jurisdiction, they're going to try to get tax breaks or abatements or whatever. That's just what businesses do, and I'm not going to hold that against them.
Look, everybody here wants to see our vehicle fleet electrified. Move to zero emissions, however it happens. But you also have to kind of live in the real world of there's a lot of challenges, and it's not going to take a one state mandate or anything else to make that happen. It's going to take a number of things to where most consumers look at it and go, well, hell yes, I want the electric car. Why would I spend $2,000 more for the gas car?
Right.
But we're not there yet, kids, but we're working on it.
Right.
For our final story, let's go to Georgia McKenzie.
Hey.
Did I surprise you? I'm sorry.
I was just kind of like, wow, we have time because this is kind of a big issue. But maybe I can speed talk my way through it. So I'm talking about this article here in Tree Hugger where we're talking about convenience, which I kind of find jives really well with the return of the Hummer. Because let's be honest here, the Hummer is not exactly what I would consider to be a labor truck. This is not a vehicle that really is out there working in the fields every day. Come on, people, let's be honest. But it's a real status symbol. And Tree Hugger is talking about the fact that we've kind of messed ourselves up with convenience and status and what we consume. Everything we eat today is mixed up with a lot of, I don't know, packaging issues that we have a lot of trouble dealing with. It's filling up our landfills. And although we do have recycling isn't really a solution. It actually is something that has shifted the responsibility of taking care of waste products out of the hands of the manufacturers and onto us, the consumer. I kind of disagree with their point in this, that recycling is not really useful and that we are bearing all the responsibility, because the frank truth of the matter is this is a shared responsibility. It can't be 100% on the manufacturer or just on the consumer. We all have to do our part. But I'm going to say the past few years may have shown that some of us struggle with the concept of a mutually beneficial society where we all have responsibility. In particular, little things in the past 5 months have kind of made us doubt that. And it's a great, great issue because plastics, and glass and a lot of things are really much harder to recycle than you think, even though we're told that they're able to be recycled. And which plastics are recyclable, I can tell you, can differ from state to state and county to county and city to city, depending on what their recycling program is like. And this article doesn't touch on it, but I will also say things like corporate composting. You go to a landfill, and I don't mean an actual recycling facility on a massive scale, but you go to a standard landfill and you dig a little and you can find organic materials that have not decayed because they're not properly being turned over. So the belief that massive corporate scale level composting can also prevent us from drowning in our own edible trash, that may not be true too. It's a real problem. How do we solve it? Let's cut to the next chase, which is Canada trying to ban plastics. Things like...
Mark Coughlin is leading that charge, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? No, I had no idea.
He is the most interesting man in Canada.
Mark
I
shaking
don't know
his
why
head.
Mark is being singled out. Stop blaming Canada, guys. So, commonly used items, straws, coffee stirrers, drink rings, plastic cutlery, takeout containers, and plastic shopping bags. Those are one of the things that those are the things that they're hoping to ban by 2021 as part of their zero waste plan for 2030. That's pretty ambitious. And I can tell you right away, based on little things like certain towns in California banning plastic bags, it's going to be met with a lot of resistance. And although they say they're banning plastic bags, things like the plastic bags that you put your vegetables in when you go to the grocery store, they're still going to be there. Small plastic bags will still be around. And I don't know. I don't know if we can really fully cap that bottle, not to make a pun or anything else like that, because everything's kind of out. What do we do with the trash we've created? What do we do with the lifestyles of convenience we've created? Because if we didn't have these weird, hectic work schedules and a 24/7 economy and 24/7 expectations of convenience foods and access to drinks and portability and a whole lot of different things, right up to out of season food on the regular, maybe we could have an actual sustainable society. But how do we get enough people to actually say, you know what, it's out of season, I don't want to have it. I don't want to take the convenience of a small bottle of water in plastic. I want to be able to bring my own water bottle. Or I'll figure out a different way of getting my food to me. I mean, not everybody is going to be willing to use something like cloth bags that are coated with beeswax to store their bread or something like that. What do we do? How do we do this? Both of these articles dovetail pretty nicely in talking about the problem, but one of the things that you'll find as you research the problem is that we can talk about it from here until we're blue in the face. We don't really have clear solutions because a lot of the solutions require tough stances that a lot of people will rebel against just because they don't want to be inconvenienced. They want convenience. So I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, like you got like the biodegradable forks and the fish skin plastic bags, where they are technically biodegradable, compostable, but they can only be done at the industrial scale with the appropriate amounts of heat and chemicals. Like this would be a tough nut to crack.
Mm-hmm.
You got to bring all parties into it. You have to bring the consumer, the manufacturers, the people that package the products. They all have to be brought in together, and you just have to take pieces of it and start to move on it. We can't wait for there to be a complete solution for all of it, or we're going to get buried. We have to move on individual pieces that we know can start to make a difference, and it becomes a patchwork that eventually will help us all. But it's getting those three parties together and agreeing that, you know what, we can get rid of straws and stir sticks. Let's do that first. Let's
Oh,
break that down and move that forward with input from all three parties.
And you could do financial incentives. Like if you go to Starbucks and you want a straw for your iced coffee, it's 25 cents. And
There you go.
If you have to pay 25 cents, you'll probably not get a straw. Now, when they're on the counter, there's a bucket of them for free. You're going to grab them. So
Right.
It's communism, Paul.
We take cups and straws to the various places that we go to get refreshments. But since COVID, they won't take our reusable stuff, and so we are forced to, if we want to, patron that place, then we have to take plastic from them, and it's really sucked. I don't know. I'm all for wearing your mask and doing the right thing and social distancing, but we now know that this is not generally transferred on surfaces, and this just seems like
things like put deposits on all kinds of containers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know when I lived in Vancouver, if you had like a Tide bottle you bought at the grocery store, there was a 30-cent deposit on the plastic Tide bottle. And if you put it in your trash, guaranteed homeless people would come and take it out, because 30 cents out of every trash bin adds up pretty fast. And
right.
Very few of them end up in landfill. And there was also redemption centers where even consumers could take their recyclables and get cash to do that. So, maybe there needs to be some financial deposits and incentives to make this all work quicker.
Yeah, if we don't take the hard steps now, then the idea of the climate refugee is going to be not just the small island nations. It's going to be big. It's going to be worldwide.
Yeah, I know that Canada certainly has their work cut out for them, trying to ban some of these things. I mean, so I work for a relatively large company, and I was until recently the national lead for our green and sustainability employee group, and it was my job to. And yeah, well, I'll tell you what. The reason, well, there's a couple of reasons why I'm not. We rotate. So in our financial year cycles at the October, November, December. So at the end of September, no, October, November, December, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so it was my turn to cycle out. But being in the national headquarters, being with the president of the company and the various vice presidents and the directors, and being at the coffee station, carrying my mug and watching them get their paper cups, except the coffee's hot. So now they need 2 paper cups. And then they stir it with their plastic spoon that they throw away. And I know these guys. I've known them for years. And I'm like, dude, seriously.
Well, you're at a sustainable meeting. This is what they're doing.
Yes, I mean,
in the sustainability meeting.
Were we not sitting around the same table 3 days ago talking about this? And to see the leaders of the company, internally just kind of shrug it off and then turn to the shareholders and the customers and talk about our commitment to sustainability and the pretty website that we put up about how carbon neutral we are and how, we have all of these, these initiatives and all of this stuff. And part of it, I'm just scratching my head and I'm wanting to just like grab them, and just the convenience that we give the everyday consumers. We have to start taking that convenience away. And whether it's like Paul said, we start charging for these extra things, or we just flat out stop making them available. You want a straw? Sorry, we don't have straws. You want 15 paper napkins because that makes you feel good? Sorry, here's 1. How big of a mess do you plan on making?
So a couple of things that came up today while I was browsing the web that I think somehow kind of work in here. One beverage company was talking about how they're using paper to make a biodegradable bottle for their product. Another company was talking about how they were making, they didn't say what from, but another biodegradable, more quickly biodegradable bottle. And that plastic didn't actually biodegrade, go figure. Obviously we've been duped on plastic for a long time. It's convenient, it's cheap, and we love it. every time I see someone at the store lugging a case of 24 little individual serving bottles of water, I die inside. Just a little bit of me just withers away.
Yeah.
And that includes my own family. My mother is chronic with that. Just like can't understand, like you can't use a refillable water bottle because these are so convenient.
And put a filtration device on the kitchen sink.
A lot of it is going to
Right.
be education. A lot of it is going to be cultural. Look at what Mothers Against Drunk Driving did for drunk driving. Drunk driving was just, oh, boys will be boys for a long time. And we let it go. And all of a sudden, drunk driving became very uncool. And it was a lot to do with the activism of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Same with Moms Demanding Guns, although they haven't had the success. Georgia, it looks like you want to say something. And
I'm going to say that we were far more easily shamed back in our group adolescence, where we could point to some of that. And right now, maybe this is just a singular point in human history and in American history in particular, where we simply cannot count on people to be able to react to shame in that way to stop doing certain behaviors. But I don't think that Mothers Against Drunk Driving right now could have a campaign that was successful against drunk driving, even with the deaths that drunk driving costs. And I'm down with the stopping of the straws, except I will also point to the needs of the disabled who need to have a solution for their consumption of beverages. It is not as simple as people think, but definitely a lot of the utensils we have, a lot of packaging, I'm often really annoyed at the over packaging of stuff. But I don't know if people will react well to a blunt force removal of the convenience, because there is a strain of toddlerism right now in adults. And I don't know how they would deal with that. So we'll see. And it would rely on the people who have to enforce the law, actually enforcing the law, which we may have noticed that they are also not doing that in a lot of cases too.
Yeah, I look at people's resistance to wear a mask during the pandemic, and I think of how successful we would be to ask people not to throw waste during climate change. I mean, to me, it's kind of a one-to-one comparison. If they're not even willing to change their behavior in the middle of a pandemic to keep from killing people, yeah, they're gonna take 3 straws just to piss you off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's a small group, I hope.
well,
That's rolling.
I mean,
right
if
there.
if maybe 30 or 40 million people is a small group, it's too big for us to let them lead us. But the
That's for
problem
sure.
is we have to deal with them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We don't have to make our policy around them, but we have to, again, it's like COVID. Anyway, hey, we are over on time. Let's do some shout outs and go home. Patrick. Let's start with
Hello, I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And I also blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. Check it out.
Do check it out, and make sure to leave as many nasty comments on cars. Cords. No, don't do that. Don't leave nasty.
Please. Yes, yeah, just not spam. I'll take nasty comments.
Yeah.
I just hate the spam.
Patrick loves a good argument.
Yes, it's fun.
No?
Yeah.
Georgia
yeah.
says no, he doesn't. Okay.
No, I mean, don't be mean to Patrick. He's a nice
Oh,
person.
thank you. Thank you. I didn't mean to misquote you. Casey
Yes.
Green, tell us what's new with you, sir.
What's new with me? I put out, 3 videos this weekend? Get 1,100 subscribers. Thank everybody. Check it out at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. The latest video went out early this morning. It was about the latest Tesla software update, but not the one that you have to be a good driver, that your car said, Elon, he's okay. Because my car said, Elon, he's spying on me. Don't do it. Did.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Mr. Guzik.
Plug Boulder Hybrids. If you're in Colorado and need your EV or hybrid car service, check us out, boulderhc.com. If you're looking for a used car, boulderh.com.
I was going to hold up my car key and go, I bought my car from Paul. And I still
Any specials, or are you still thin stock?
Pretty thin right now. It's tough in the used car business these days.
Yeah. Well, if you've got an old hybrid or EV, you want to trade in on a newer one, talk to Paul. Maybe he can work some magic. He has the connections. I don't. Do you have the connections, Paul? Maybe he does. I don't know. That's not a guarantee. Mark Coughlin, help me out of this, please.
There's no help for you, Russell. Sorry.
No, sir. I'm doomed.
But if you're
doomed.
watching this program and you haven't already, please
God
give us a
knows why.
thumbs up. That helps us out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's your time. Subscribe. It's free. It doesn't get any better than this.
You made it this far.
You made it this far.
Exactly.
That's an excellent one. Yes.
You hung with the show this long.
You must love something here. Let's do it.
Yeah. Georgia McKenzie, the microphone is yours.
Hey. So don't forget, hit like and subscribe for this show. Head on over to the Tesla Live. Hit like and subscribe over there. Head over to Casey's show. Hit like and subscribe. You know you want this content in your veins. Go for it. And it is election season, people. Get those ballots in. Get them filled out. Ballotopedia will talk about all the little whatever the hell people have managed to collect enough signatures to get on your damn ballot this time. Because as we all know, there's always something. Vote no on 22 because one of the clauses in 22 in California is that it will require 7/8 majority to change labor laws. And you don't want Uber and Lyft doing that, right? No, we don't. Don't vote yes on 22.
Wow, that's a super duper majority.
Yeah.
Yes, Prop 22 has a serious poison pill in it, and they have tons of money, and they have been hitting the airwaves. I have been hit with, I can open up my mailbox and get 4 flyers that are yes on 22 to 1 flyer that's no on 22.
No on 22.
No on Prop 22 in California.
Huge one.
And also, text banking, phone banking. If you are serious about actually doing something about sustainability and electric vehicles, it's a helpful thing to get out the vote because everything is on the ballot with regards to that. And think positively, everybody. Think positively. I know I get the depressing sustainability. I'm sorry. I feel really bad about that. But your small individual actions towards sustainability do have an impact. And I really, although it's good to look at the nature of industrialized responses to sustainability issues and recycling, what you do at home has an impact. It may be small, but it's worth doing, so don't give it up. And stop flashing your beaver at me, Russell.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Tony Schaefer, take it away.
Beaver nuggets?
Well, sadly, I don't have a beaver to flash. So, yeah, a couple of things to reiterate what Georgia said. If you are listening to us or watching us in the United States, for the love of God, go vote like your ever-living rights are on the line, because they really are. And if you are listening to us or watching us from outside the United States, please do not interfere with our election. All right, please. We need this one to be ended smoothly. All right. Also, I don't know where you got this episode. If you want to make sure you never miss another show, please subscribe to the show on YouTube if you haven't already. And if you are an audio fan like myself, make sure and find us on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, TuneIn, iTunes. Go ahead and subscribe to all of them. It helps our numbers and makes us look good. For those who care, I don't care. We do the show anyway, whether you listen to us or not. So Doesn't really matter.
But we want you to listen to us.
Yeah, but we want
really
you to listen. 'cause-
Right. Well, my
We like you.
therapist is trying to get me to understand that it's not about pleasing other people. It's about feeling good internally. So I'm just trying
You can
to.
feel good internally, but we actually want them to listen to us. Don't listen to Tony.
On
How
that
to
note,
listen to.
you may have watched our Prius 20th anniversary show. If you haven't, what the hell's wrong with you? Go watch that show. And why am I bringing that show up? Well, because I thought it was a really good show, and it was 2 hours of fun, and it was the first time that I actually been on a show with Danny Cooper, and I don't know how long. Now, that Frost Cooper reunion is in your near future. Danny and I are going to the Toyota Mirai event in December. Yes, Danny Cooper and I will be driving and reviewing the second generation Mirai, which I know is a car everyone on the show is so excited about. But
Love the car. Where's the fuel?
yeah, suffice to say, come the middle of December, those reviews will be up and ready. So do subscribe, do like, and do check back with us for that, and go back and watch that Toyota show. By the way, the Beaver is Buc-ee's, and if you're not from Texas, you don't know what Buc-ee's is. Buc-ee's is a big gas station convenience store chain. And why do I like them? They have like 150 gas pumps. It is the most Texas American thing possible. It's awful in every way, but it's wonderful. So
You say Texas, but those teeth look Tennessee.
it's just in Texas.
And the beaver nuggets are a product of the Buc-ee's.
Thank you.
And
Beaver
there goes
nuggets.
all our
What
Tennessee
drives us
viewers.
in no way, shape, or form is insulting to Tennesseans. We love you, Tennesseans.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have friends in Tennessee. I mean, I wish they'd leave Tennessee, but they're still my friend. I know, right? We just lost Tennessee, George. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's all my
I'm
fault.
trying to build the audience.
I know. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. I want to thank all of these incredible panelists for putting up with this crap for over an hour tonight so we could make a great show for you, right? We deal with the crap and we give you something that is a very polished turd. Wait, that didn't come out right.
Beaver nuggets.
With lipstick.
Beaver nuggets. You give us beavers, we give you beaver nuggets.
There it is.
No?
Show title.
There's another show title.
Oh.
Anyway, do tune in next week and find out what drives us. Because what does drive us?
No one knows.
Crazy.
Beaver nuggets.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Beaver nuggets.